I don't know what time it is, but I suspect that I've spent about 3, if not 4 hours getting to Wangping, which is where the Marco Polo Bridge theoretically is. Now, beyond these buses and beyond that freeway and a red building and a long blue sign, freeway sign with nothing on it, is where I pick up the bus 715 or 309 going back into Beijing somewhere, after having taken the Planet's number 6 bus, which left me in the middle of Beijing somewhere and not a clue where to go. So again, cannot trust Lonely Planet. A couple of girls who didn't speak any English but said, go down that street there and come down this street here, I think. Then I asked the lady, she and her husband are walking down there, and I asked her if this was the way to go, and she said, yes, it is. She pointed to it. This looks like a great wall, which is interesting. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'll start walking. It sounds like I'm finally en route. Of course, I haven't figured out how to get back. That's another contest, although I know I take either bus 309 or 715. Part of the challenge today was I'm going to get here come hell or high water. Particularly once it started getting difficult, I decided, damn it, I'm going to get it done. So this is hopefully what's going to happen. I'm a long ways away from where I started, so hopefully I'm going in the right direction. This may be the memorial to the resistance of the Chinese against the Japanese invasion, and that may be what all these pedestals are for. You wonder if these holes are holes from the Japanese invasion. Whatever this is, it's an impressive wall-like structure, or fort-like structure for sure. Very, very long. Now my strategy is follow the people that look like they're tourists. Okay, this area, I think these are probably middle school kids, maybe from private schools, I don't know. Haven't seen a lot of kids in uniforms. This is the first time I've seen this many, so it may be a private school. But this place is famous to the Chinese because this is where the Lugano, and I'm mispronouncing that, incident occurred, in which that precipitated and gave a pretext, if you will, to the Japanese to attack China, and then it did, and with horrifying results. I have videos somewhere, and it looks like there was recently a celebration here of some sort in recognition of the importance of this place. This is a large sculpture-like piece. It looks like a bronze cast plaque in the center, illustrating, it looks like men breaking apart a stone with a large hammer and a long chisel, and here maybe working it. So this may represent the stone carvers of China. This also may represent the process of getting the stone and moving the stone to build the fort behind us or any other edifice of this nature. Here an illustration of probably the site manager or lord and responsible for it, and using a pulley to lift the heavy stones up. They apparently were not aware of using multiple pulleys, I don't know. And they're a simulation of a stone carver etching out the stone itself. I've sat down in order to get a better view of these sculptured men. You can certainly feel and see the stress of that heavy stone on their muscle. Now this is some kind of a passenger wagon, actually reminiscent or reflecting some of the vehicles you see today that have the seats going forward and backward on either side. But I find these wheels fascinating with all of that metal inside the structure for some reason. I would think that would be one of the reasons for its ultimate early breakdown. because I can't see what function it serves then there. But I think the metal in the construction of that hub is interesting. Probably some of the cannon used by the fort to defend itself. It was ironical, in coming here on the bus, a young boy sitting in his father's lap and a shirt that had Tokyo written on it several different times. In some use I didn't understand, but just the irony that a young Chinese boy would have a t-shirt with Tokyo on it. He will probably never really focus on the atrocities of the Japanese against the Chinese, and probably it's wise that he doesn't. Now, I'm hoping that this is the Marco Polo Bridge, and I'm hoping I can go to the side somewhere and actually get a view of it. Here are the classic stele on a bishi that we've seen, but here a different kind that we haven't really seen before. Certainly this column is a depiction of a dragon. That must be the face, or the head of the dragon, yeah. Couldn't see it at first. It's kind of hidden in a corner in a way. And as we traipse down through here, there you see the claw-like feet there, but they're a stranger kind of tail, if you will. There are apparently 400 of these sculpted lions on this bridge. The DK guidebook alleges that a fair amount of this bridge, rebuilt in the 1600s, is still original. Which portions are, I don't know, but this kind of heavily worn piece may be one of them. I wonder about these stones, heavily eroded, like places like that. And you wonder if this is from water or from use over time. And more importantly, is that perhaps the original stone, at least from the 1600s. These slabs like this have a different design than the one next to it, and certainly is more heavily weathered, as is the one next to it. And it's been repaired. Here we can see the lion, if it is the lion, male lion, with the ball in its right paw, and here the male lion with its ball in the left paw, and same with that one down there. And the hair on these two is different, just to show the illustration. Here probably the female, because she has a kitten underneath. And this may reflect an old repair, what I would call a photo Nazi, who saw a grade B American movie about a great but loud and cantankerous director, and his wife, or whoever she is, seemingly just endures his direction. And this might be a very old head. Obviously the head's been attempted to be restored, a real shabby job. But what's interesting is that the little cub, if in fact that's what it is in between the paws, not under either one. And here the cub looks to be a bit playful, tugging on mom's under chin skin. Here a new but impressive sculpture. It sits on a corner position of the wall and therefore occupies a wider base, giving more opportunity for the sculptor. These are stelae of Qing Long and maybe even Kangshi's quips, and apparently almost anything he said, even 4 words that were merely an observation of the obvious, justified building one of these stelae. This is the only view I can get from this side of the actual arches. The other side is a more functional, modern design to thwart the logs and debris that might be coming down during a flood. The importance of this to European is that Marco Polo references this as though he in fact had visited it in his treatise of China. For me, the charisma of place, the mere possibility that Marco Polo might have passed across this very spot that I've meandered back and forth on the bridge, is an exciting thought, similar to standing over the cremation site of Julius Caesar in a similar fashion. Here are two sculptures that appear to be old and perhaps original. This of the male, the ball in his right hand. This of the female with the cub under her left paw. And the fun of videoing these is to think that perhaps I really am looking at and empathizing with that past. Some other uniforms. Alright, here we have a better view. And a telephoto view. I wonder if Marco Polo, when he wrote his treatise, The Travels, imagined that people 300-400 years into the future would still find his adventure remarkable, exciting, stimulating. An additional irony is in the background I just noticed the construction of a huge overhead, probably for traffic, but maybe a train. Why it's there, I don't know. But there's some reason it has to be elevated. Will 500 or 800 years from now there be still a third something or other being built that will dwarf these? This is the lady that gave me my directions down here, so I had a chance to return the favor by taking a photo of she and her husband or her father or whatever. Here an actual excerpt from Marco Polo's account 700 years ago of his travels in Asia that caused a stir in Europe. He mentioned the Lugo Bridge in his travel notes as follows. On the river there is a bridge so beautiful that there is hardly any bridge in other places that can rival it. The engineering is perfect. It is a bridge unique in the world. On the other side, freeway to the Marco Polo Bridge are some more of those sculptural items we'll take a closer look at. And you get an idea why the saddle's so well polished. This is so reminiscent to me of the portrayals of the Oregon Trail, right down to what might be oxen. Here are the camel gear, and here are the camel. Beautiful sculpture. Perhaps a Mongol or Manchu, I don't know which. The one on the right, I mean. Here's obvious, a mother and her child offering a traveler a drink of water. Now, without trying to be prurient, oh, you're fine. You'll notice that this little boy has a slit and actually a gaping hole in his crotch. That's the way kids are dressed today as well. Okay, this street looks like a tourist reconstruction, but I'm going to travel down it just for kicks. I am looking for the museum, if I can find it, because there they say there is a display of macabre pictures of the interaction between the Chinese and the Japanese. I don't want to see it just because I'm enthralled by the macabre, but because I'm always appalled by what humans can do to each other. It's another one of those days when I can be pretty well assured I'm the only one that's by themselves traveling. I did see one man, but he was accompanied by a Chinese person. That doesn't count as an independent traveler. So I bought this from a vendor. It cost me 1 yuan, which is probably about 5 times what it cost a Chinese person. But chiwa is what she called this. But it's a very thin bread. It's crunchy, a little bit greasy, but 再见. It's maybe called Yopian.
对，油饼。
Yopian. Okay. 谢谢你.
不客气。
It has a taste of grease, but it doesn't have a greasy taste. I'm going to make that distinction. It's more like a, I don't know how you describe it. Very thin potato chip. There's some interesting stonework. I don't know if this is created or if it's natural from somewhere. I'm guessing it's probably a combination of both. And there are several shops selling items like this. Here, a massive table. Here's still another massive table. This is the industrial commercial street we came down earlier. All kinds of things here. One section deals in PVC and all kinds of plumbing. And you just see all kinds of work going on here. What's amazing is that this narrow road is a bus road also. So buses can be going both directions. Sometimes the cars are packed in on either side and the buses have to go through that. My guess is that we're not going back the same way we came, which makes sense. It should be, a bus should go on a loop so it can cover as much geography as possible. My strategy is just to take this bus back as far as I can, where I start to get into really lots of big buildings. Then I figure I'm getting close to being somewhere near the subway system.